The Getty Museum, located in the city of Los Angeles, in the state of California. The whole facility in itself is a work of art. You can see it in the gardens, and you can also see it in the beautiful architecture of all the buildings and sculptures allotted around the walkways. And as Henry David Thoreau once said, this world is but a canvas to our imagination. Prepare to experience the beautiful and gorgeous pictures and photographs and artworks this illustrious museum has to offer. An estimated 1.3 million visitors make it to this museum annually, and it is one of the most visited museums in the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to experience the Getty. Prepare to experience the magic of artwork. I'm Grant Anderson, Block 2 Design. Let's have an adventure. We can notice many uses of dark coloring in the trees and woodland, as well as in the shadows of the rocky cliffs and mountains. The sky is also dark with the colors of gray. All these colors collectively influence the tone of the painting, which is somber and lonely. With all these dark and depressing colors, there are still the bright, white, and tan colors of the rocks and river, which add a little exhilaration to the remorseful scene. In this particularly dark corner of the artwork, we can notice the use of value to allow the old man, his shanty, and adjacent dead tree to be visible in the artwork despite being greatly shadowed by a cliff above. The value of the shanty, old man, and tree is brighter than the surrounding darkness of the shadow, and it is in these bright characteristics that they stand out. The space we see here on the right side of the artwork is largely open, and in between two dense forests. The river below seems to be emptying out into a vast lake, and the refreshing presence of birds flying up above and the slightly lighted blue of the sky promotes the space as liberating or relieving from the darkness of the rest of the picture. The space is the background for most of the artwork objects, and therefore it is negative space. The rhythm of the artwork seems to follow the flowing of water down the mountains and cliffs of the artwork. The rhythm is a gravitational pattern, and a waterfall that is seen to the left of the painting brings water all the way down a river, around a bend, and down another waterfall that flows out into a lake below, in the distance of the right corner of the picture. There seems to be great emphasis on the value of darkness in the artwork. The whole bottom half of the artwork is covered with looming shadows from mountains and cliffs, and even the forests create great darkness with their dense foliage. Still, with all the emphasis of darkness in the artwork, the bright tree in the middle stands out as the focal point of the entire work. The artwork has much variety, and there is no presence of a repeating pattern. The different sizes of the trees, rocks, and mountains contribute to the painting's variety. The contrast between the dark bottom half and the brighter top half of the picture also add to the variety. What I feel is successful about Landscape with the Temptation of St. Anthony is the use of dark colors and value to portray a natural landscape in a mystical and mysterious way. Also, the attention to detail in this painting is astounding, and you almost feel like you're there at the scene. I chose this piece of artwork simply because it was a beautiful representation of nature. The space above the moon and the surrounding moonlit clouds is spacious and calming, and it is free of any distracting objects. The space is also not too dark, and the hints of dark blue and the small stars up above give the whole entire painting a sense of peacefulness as well as thoughtfulness. The value of the painting is not too dark, and while full moons may symbolize fear or insanity, and large rain clouds may symbolize coming danger, the slight brightness about the piece evokes safety and harmlessness. The brightness originates from the full moon in the twilight sky, and it illuminates all the darkened areas of the artwork. The form of the woods to the left of the painting evokes strength in the work, as it is fairly large and bold in its dark coloring. There seems to be a great emphasis on the sense of openness in the painting in the twilight sky, as well as the shining moon and its reflection on the river. There is a harmony of color and value on each side of the river. Both swamps have dark orange grass covering their grounds and dark black trees. The dark color of the sky is also harmonizing with the dark colors of the trees. The balance is asymmetrical, as the forest on the left side of the artwork is more dense and populated than the two trees on the right side. I feel that the sense of peacefulness that comes with the presence of such an eerie object such as a full moon is very successful about moonlit landscape. Also, the use of warm colors on the reflections in the river and the grass on either side of the picture is quite notable. I chose this piece because I like the different colors painted in it, and I thought the full moon added a unique aspect to the painting. The dark gray of the thunderclouds above the watermill is a color that invigorates the influence of nature all around the artwork. The dark green colors of the trees and forest foliage also represent the strength of nature. The shape of the watermill buildings and their wheels seem to represent the innovation and power of human achievement, and this establishes a rivalry between nature and man in this artwork piece. The value of this artwork is once again very dark, and it gives a very solemn feel to the painting. The dark value is present especially in the dense forest in the background of the watermills and sluice. You can definitely notice rhythm in the artwork by observing the flow of the river water through the open sluice and the whitening of the blue water to show whitewash and rapids. There is an emphasis on the conflicting powers of human achievement, as seen in the watermill buildings and wheels, and the powers of nature, as seen in the menacing thunderclouds above in the background forest. There is also an old man, slouching on the left side of the painting, overtaken by the strength of nature. The balance of the artwork is asymmetrical, as there are windmill buildings to the right side of the picture, and there are forest and trees to the left side. Nothing is the same on either side of the picture. I feel that the use of color in the painting is superb and most successful in the painting. It helps express wildness in the flowing rapids of the river, and it gives the forest and trees a sense of vigor, as well as the watermill buildings. I chose this piece because the works of the watermill and the river flowing through the sluice were exciting and adventurous. The colors of this painting are exceptionally magical, and they help represent the marvelous enchantment of the exciting scene. Such colors such as crimson red and blue on the dresses of the two ladies on shore, and the majestic pale white on the fleeing horse are fantastical, and the valuable color streaks of gold on the carriage in the background are one of a kind. The value is also terrific and transitional, and there is brightness on the left side of the painting to represent a heroic escape on horseback that the woman in red and blonde hair endeavors. The right side of the painting is probably dark to represent the entrapment and evilness of the land in the golden chariot and two despairing women. The space above the heroine is blue and symbolizes an ambitious and promising end of journey for the horseback rider's escape. The balance of the painting is asymmetrical and no side is the same. The right side is dark and depicts possible entrapment and adversity, and lays ground to a large and dense forest, with the golden chariot and two despairing women. The left side of the painting is bright, and depicts a passionate and promising future for the escaping heroine. It also contains part of a lake and shore. There is a large emphasis on the brightness of the white horse carrying the heroine, most likely to symbolize the importance of the steed to carry the heroine to an ambitious destination. The brightness could also symbolize the righteousness and goodness of the horse and his rider. There is a strong unity in the painting's theme of fantasy. Golden chariot on the right of the painting is an object you would usually see in Roman times and in fairy tale stories. The perfectly white-haired horses in the artwork are also quite mystical, and the colors and styles of the women and men's clothes are unique and appropriate for a fantasy setting. I chose this piece because it looked exciting and heroic, and it was based off of an event in a book I was familiar with. Ovid's Metamorphoses. I feel that the unity of a fantasy theme in the painting and the use of magical colors is most successful about the artwork. I also think that the transitional value from right to left, dark to bright, is also important and successful.